So, no disturbance in classes, online digital lessons with HD quality transmissions, subject experts and experienced faculty. Unlike other app, we have our own teachers for assuring 100% quality education. If you too want our quality teachings are at your premises and institutions, not only SSC, but other various courses are in easy method covering state syllabus. We successfully taught at pre-examination period to government SSC students in COVID pandemic. We made grand success our online teachings at private colleges also. Why are you waiting? Just dial for online admissions. Rush and join in ABC Education Learning app.
Hello everybody, this is Sabaim Rose. I am here to teach you English subject in ABC Education Learning app. So students, how are you? Hope you all are fine, very good. I even hope that you are concentrating my words little than before. You are concentrating little on your studies than previous few days ago. So students, to get or obtain the good education from us, that we are here to assure you that we are giving you full assurance of a quality education. So do join us on ABC Education Learning app. So students, let us recall the last class, that what we have discussed earlier or what we have learned. So yesterday's class was about the vocabulary. We have seen few attributes or the words which were related to the Nick's life. Nick, he was the person who was disabled, inspired the world by doing his achievements. He was very successful, who inspired all of the people around the world. So there were few attributes in the vocabulary which we have discussed yesterday's class. So let us move forward with the few things, like there are a few words, few described words where we have to suit for a individual personality, any individual person. So here you are having the next bit is read the following descriptions about persons and fill the blanks with a suitable description or a described words. So let us go for an individual word one by one. First one is boorish. The second one is introvert. Third one is malicious. Fourth one, meticulous. Then let's go for the last one. There are many words, but I am taking only few of them. Then we are placing for a particular individual person which suits with this description. Then the fifth one is timid, timid. So students, you may be worried what madam is writing on the board. What are these words? Can we know? Do we know? Have we heard earlier? What does what these words say? What are their synonyms or meanings? So let me say about that. Boorish. Boorish means, let me write here, bad mannered. Introvert, quiet people, quiet, or you can say shy people. Okay, then let's go for malicious. I will say you clearly what this word says, what this all thing says. Malicious means you are having a desire to harm others, or you having an intention to harm for others. Then meticulous. Meticulous means very careful. Very careful. These are synonyms of a particular words. Then let's go for what is timid. Lack of confidence. So these are few described words, and below you are having few sentences. So we have to find a particular word which fits or which fill ups with the particular sentence. So let us go, or let us begin with the first sentence. Ashok is a rude fellow. I don't talk to him. Okay, he is next. So you have to see which of these 5 words with the synonyms particularly fits into the fill in the blanks in that blank word. So here Ashok is a rude fellow means the person whose name is Ashok, he is a rude fellow. I don't talk to him. He is, so what suits in that particular to be filled in the blank. Boorish means it is bad mannered, introvert it is shy people, malicious to harm others, meticulous or timid. So here the appropriate word to be filled up in the blank is bad mannered. See, by reading the sentence you can understand that he is a rude fellow and we don't talk to him, so he may be bad mannered. So here the empty blank to be filled up is boorish. Okay, so let's go for the second one. Sujata is a quiet and a calm she is interested in her own thoughts and feelings. Okay, she is, we have to fill in this blank. The first one was boorish, so we have to tick this because it is finished. Let us go for the 4 words which to be filled up in this blank. Sujata is a quiet and calm. She is interested in her own thoughts and feelings. She is, see, who are quiet, who are calm, who are polite people, who have feelings in themselves, they doesn't express. So this blank is filled with which? It is introvert, means introvert, the word introvert's synonym. The next meaning to introvert is a quiet or shy people. So here we can fit the word that is introvert. Let's go for the next one. My neighbor is such a person who has feeling of hatred to others He has desires to hurt others' feelings. Full stop. He is. So we have to fill the next described words, next description word into this particular blank. So first one was boorish, second was introvert. This is finished. So only 3 are left. So here we have to see malicious means to harm others. Meticulous is very careful. Timid means lack of confidence. So here my neighbor is such a person who has feeling of hatred and to others. He has desires to harm or hurt others' feelings. He is what? He is malicious. Means the synonym of malicious is to harm others. So here we have to fill with malicious word. Okay students, hope you are getting to about this described words and fill the blanks. Let us go for the next one. This is finished. Only meticulous and timid, these both are left. Let us go forward for that words. Let's go for the next sentence. My father pays a careful attention to every detail he makes a thorough planning. He makes a thorough planning for everything in our home. He is. So the next word, the next sentence is, my father pays a careful attention to every detail. He makes a thorough planning for everything in our home. He is. So next left words are meticulous and timid. So father pays a careful attention in the home with the careful things or with less concentration or less confidence. So here the appropriate word that fits into this blank is very careful, means meticulous. Okay students, let's go for the final sentence, the final one. Sridhar is always afraid of speaking in class. He is what comes? Means he has lack of confidence. Anyhow, the left word is timid. So here, Sridhar is always afraid of speaking in class. So that hesitation or the fearness which you are having in yourself, that which you cannot overcome, that is called as TIMID, means timid. Who have fear of confidence, or who is having a lack of confidence to overcome any situation or anything. So students, this was the few descriptions which suits for a particular sentence we have filled up with within the blanks. So let us go for a grammar part. So students, before beginning a grammar, I would say you to pay a careful attention when you are knowing or when you are learning about a grammar part in a English subject. Okay, so today we are going to read the grammar part, that is about the defining relative clause and a non-defining relative clause. So let us know in detail what does the defining and non-defining relative clause speaks about or says about. Defining relative clause, CLAUSE. So in an English subject, grammar plays an important major role in words, in sentences, in pronunciation, in speaking, and everything which makes a clear communication of speaking the language of English. So students, let's go for what is defining relative clause. So defining relative clause, it speaks about a person or anything. It describes or it identifies about a person, who or what we are speaking about. Let's write about it. Let me write. It identifies about who or what we are speaking about. This is defining relative clause. So here in this defining relative clause, it is essential to distinguish who or what we are speaking about. And here we cannot, let me say orally, instead of writing, here we cannot use commas or hyphens, in which in defining relative clause we cannot use comma or hyphen. See, let me say or discuss first about defining relative clause, then later on I can say or discuss about non-defining relative clause. So in defining relative clause, it identifies about who or what we are speaking about. So it does not include comma or a hyphen. Here we can write the words using who, whose, and also that. Hope you are getting here. Here in the defining relative clause, it identifies about who or what we are speaking about. In this sentence of defining relative clause, we do not use any comma or a hyphen. Here we can use who, whose, instead we can use that also. Okay, let us go for non-defining relative clause. I will give the examples also with the sentences. So let me say briefly about this, then let us go for the examples and differentiation between these two. Non-defining relative clause. See students, here we are speaking about a particular one, about who or what. Here in this non-defining relative clause, it just gives more information about the sentence or about the persons. It just adds more information about who we are speaking. Then next comes, we cannot use here that. That cannot be used. Okay. First one is, what is non-defining relative clause means? Here it adds some more extra information about when we are speaking about a person or anything. Here it is not necessary to describe more about such particular person, but we have to add some just information about them. So here we can use who, whose, and that. Here that cannot be used in a non-defining relative clause. The next one is, in a non-defining relative clause, the words can be preceded or followed by comma and a hyphen. We can identify the particular sentence. This particular sentence is a non-defining relative clause with a comma and a hyphen. So this was about defining relative clause and a non-defining relative clause. So let us move forward with the examples which explains about relative and a non-relative, defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. Let's go for examples. Let us begin with the example. The woman who taught him surfing had bitten by a shark. Okay, this is one sentence. The woman who taught him surfing had bitten by a shark. Let's go for the next one. Let me say about that deeply. Let me write the other sentence and discuss. Nick, here is comma, who was teased and bullied, comma, had an electric chair for mobility. Okay, this is the another sentence. See students, here the woman who taught him surfing had been bitten by a shark. This is the first. So here the woman, here you can see clearly the woman, this defines a relative clause. The woman defines a relative clause. Here Nick, you are seeing in the second sentence, Nick, comma, who was teased and bullied, means who was teased and harmed, had an electric chair for mobility. So here we are preceding the word or the sentence is followed by comma and here also comma. So this sentence here you are finding, you can see a difference that this word here you are having a who. So this is defining relative clause. Here you can see a major difference. Nick, comma, because the words are followed by commas or hyphens. So this is, the first one is defining relative clause. The second one, Nick who was teased and bullied, comma, had an electric chair for mobility. This sentence describes about a non-defining relative clause. Hope so children, you are understanding the difference between relative and non-defining relative clause. Let us go still for a few examples about these clauses, defining and non-defining. Let me start with one word, one sentence, sorry. London is an interesting place to live. Okay, London is an interesting place to live. So here this sentence is defining relative clause. This we can say it is a defining relative clause because I have said the difference. There is no comma, there is no hyphen, the first, and here it is a normal sentence about whom we are talking. It doesn't add any more extra information, and here we can use that. We can use who and whose also. Let us go for equivalent or the same sentence about this. London, comma, which has a 7 million population, comma, is an interesting place to live. So students, just have a keen observation on the first sentence and the next. So here London is an interesting place to live. It is just common sentence, it is just general one which is not describing very much in depth about it. Here you can see London, comma, means here you are stopping, you are giving a prescribed, you are adding some extra information about that particular one, which has a 7 million population. Again you are having a comma, is an interesting place to live. So this is a non-defining relative clause. The above one was defining relative clause. So I think you are getting children about what is the difference between these two sentences and what does the defining relative clause speaks about and non-defining relative clause. So let us go forward or move forward with still more interesting examples which are in the textbook itself from the Nick's biography in the lesson Attitude is Altitude. Let us go for more about them. Let us go for the still sentences. So next you are finding here, you can find in the textbook behind the relative clauses of a grammar. Read the text again and identify some more defining and non-defining relative clauses. Means instead of taking the examples, like I have taken the general examples which I said you earlier, we can take still examples which you are having in the lesson attitude is altitude from the Nick's story or Nick's biography. So let us write few examples of defining and non-defining relative clause. So let me start. Nick has a small foot on his hip, which helps him to carry and enables him to kick. So here in the textbook it is given that we have to still find out few examples of a defining relative clause and a non-defining relative clause from a particular lesson. So children, this is one line, this is one sentence given in your textbook. Nick has a small foot on his hip which helps him to carry and enables him to kick. So this sentence, complete sentence, here you can find which. So, and you don't find any kind of a comma or a hyphen. So this sentence completely relates for defining relative clause. Okay, so this was defining relative clause, one example from the textbook. Let's go for one more. Nick, comma, sorry, let me rub it clearly. Nick, comma, who was born in Melbourne, comma, Australia, comma, now lives in Los Angeles. So one more sentence, students, see here, Nick. So here we are separating the word, the name, particular name with a comma, because we are adding still information about him. Nick, comma, who was born in Melbourne, comma, Australia, now lives in Los Angeles. See here in the sentence, few words are broken or followed or preceded with the comma. Nick, comma, who was born in Melbourne, again comma, then Australia, means it is giving or adding still more information about an individual person. So here it defines about that it is a non-defining relative clause. See students, when you are having a keen observation and a concentration towards a particular topic, if you are in a continuous flow of listening what the topic is, then only you can understand the concept. Grammar is a very typical part in every language to learn. So here I was discussing about the defining and non-defining relative clause. So I hope that you have understood and got the concept. So let us go for the next bit. These are very important things, important questions which comes in your question paper. So see, you are having first bit is reading comprehension, where you have to read the complete paragraph and find out a particular answers which you can see in a paragraph itself. You have to answer that. The next one is vocabulary and grammar, where grammar plays important role, means it contributes, it gives a important concept which carries 5 marks in your question paper. So grammar in every subject, not every subject, in every topic or unit you get different grammar parts, like once you get adjectives, clauses, what is preposition, so you have to learn carefully about that. So this was the difference between defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. So let us go for the next bit, that is complete the sentences with a defining or non-defining relative clause. Means here few sentences are given in your textbook itself with some fill in the blanks. There you have to fill up and you have to identify this complete sentence is a defining relative clause or non-defining. So let me discuss only few of them, then it is a task or an assignment for you where you have to identify few sentences which either they are relative defining relative clause or non-defining relative clause. Let us start with the first sentence. This is a peaceful place. You are having a blank where you have to write or fill up with a particular suitable word, and you have to identify that it is either a defining relative clause or a non-defining relative clause. So let me write the complete sentences on the blackboard and then let me discuss about that. The Mahaprasthanam. The Mahaprasthanam is a popular book. Then you are having one blank or a large dash to be filled up with the appropriate word. Next, the third one. Suresh you are having a large blank, a big blank here, has left the school. Just now. Only 2 are left, let me finish that. The express dash has just arrived. So students, these are few sentences where you have to fill up with a particular suitable word. So here this is a peaceful place. This is a peaceful place. We can write which is away from city life. You can say. Let me say about this. This is a peaceful place which is away from city life. Means this is, here you are finding the word which. This defines about a defining relative clause. So students, the remaining sentences or the Mahaprasthanam is a popular book, and the Suresh dash has left everything which is displayed on the board. So here this is a task given for you, which appropriate word fits into this, and either it is a defining relative clause or a non-defining relative clause. This is a task for you where you have to do this work. Tomorrow let us meet at the same time. Keep watching ABC Education Learning app. Do concentrate on your studies. Don't waste your time. So this is this is an opportunity in the pandemic situation. This is a good opportunity for you to get into admission in such kind of classes. So, thank you children for today's class and let's meet tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye.
नमस्कार बच्चों, कैसे हो सब लोग। मेरा नाम मोहम्मद ख्वाजा पाशा है और मेरा हिंदी शिक्षक के रूप में 16 वर्ष का अनुभव है। ABC एजुकेशनल लर्निंग ऐप में आपका सबका स्वागत है बच्चों। मौसम ये 3-4 दिनों से, एक सप्ताह से देखा गया तो मौसम बहुत बिगड़ जा रहा है, क्योंकि वर्षा के कारण से